On the New South Wales mid-north coast, the rain has finally stopped. Now attention has turned to the massive job of cleaning up.
So this was the living room. So I stripped out everything. This was the kitchen, so there was a lot of very old fixtures in here. Unfortunately, the kind of materials that are going to absorb a lot of water, and they just disintegrated within a couple of days. We did manage to save a lot of photographs and documents and birth certificates and passports.
The 44-year-old father only bought the house 1 month ago.
We borrowed some money from parents and in-laws to get the deposit together.
After such a big purchase, Joe decided against paying $13,000 for flood insurance.
It was so expensive that it just wasn't feasible. And at the time when you decide something like that, you don't imagine that a month down the line you're going to be inundated with water.
Joe's not alone in his decision to forgo flood insurance. According to Allianz, one of the nation's biggest insurers, 95% of its customers in New South Wales have decided not to take out flood cover.
Insurance is priced against the risk which the property faces, and if your property is in an area that is highly prone to flood, then it will be more expensive to insure. For some insurers, you are able to opt out of flood cover, where others it's a mandatory part of home and contents insurance.
West of Sydney, Greg Teal's only access to his Londonderry home is by kayak.
The water's gone through the bottom section of our house, probably a metre high. It's gone through my business. I have a stock feed business where I put animal feed. Pretty devastating actually to see it.
Greg cancelled his flood cover 3 years ago after his premiums skyrocketed to $16,000 per year.
I believe the council did a flood study, and then straight away then all the insurance companies started charging a fortune for their flood insurance. Just took the viewpoint, if it did happen, the money I've saved on the insurance will fix my house anyway.
The affordability of insurance has been under close scrutiny. Consumer watchdog the ACCC found in cyclone and flood-prone areas of Northern Australia, premiums had increased 178% over 10 years.
In high-risk areas exposed to flood, we know that often the people that live there do suffer from disadvantage, so they're probably the people that are least able to afford higher insurance premiums.
Among the ACCC's recommendations was more investment to reduce the risk of disasters in areas considered most vulnerable. The Productivity Commission has recommended an extra $200 million be spent on disaster mitigation each year, to be matched by the states and territories.
The Productivity Commission found that Australia was spending too much money on disaster relief and recovery, about 97%, and only 3% on mitigation. Now there's certainly some increases in expenditure in disaster mitigation in Australia, but certainly these floods and the recent Black Summer bushfires really show us that certainly there is room for more to be done in disaster mitigation.
The Insurance Council says more mitigation work, such as levies, is key to reducing premiums.
If we can invest more into the infrastructure that can mitigate against these kinds of challenges like floods and bushfires, we will see a significant drop in the cost of insurance in this country.
Well, we're currently working with the states in rolling out $260 million worth of mitigation works. We would expect there to be transparency from insurance companies about how that would drive premiums down, because their track record hasn't necessarily been great in some parts of the country.
Andrew Hall says in New South Wales, premiums are also being pushed higher because the state government charges insurers to help fund emergency services. The insurance industry wants the levy abolished.
In New South Wales, residents pay nearly double what residents in Victoria pay in state government taxes. That is a real disincentive for people to insure their property for what it should be insured for, and it can drive a level of underinsurance across the state.
The New South Wales government says it has no plans to change the levy or how it's collected.
They're blaming the levy. The levy's not really much, but their premium's a lot higher than what the levy is, so I don't think that's the problem. I think it's just they want to make more money.
It's the case that over the last 3 years, insurers have paid out around $7 billion in claims for natural disasters, and this last calendar year, insurers across Australia made only $35 million in total in profit.
Back on the New South Wales mid-north coast, Anissa Manton is surveying the damage to her water adventure park.
Oh, we could be up near $1 million easily, or if not, well in excess. It doesn't take much to clock up that when you look at roads and aqua parks and cabins. We're only a small family business. And that is a lot of money. It is a lot of money. We don't have it. We'll have to borrow it to get back on our feet. I think once we start looking at, underneath, road bases, like just even putting all the new tar down, that's, they're big jobs, they're not little.
Anissa took out comprehensive insurance for her business, only to discover she's not covered for flood.
Our insurance premium is over $150,000 per year. I knew flood is always sometimes an issue, but I didn't think that you just get no insurance at all. Really, I only found out, in the last 48 hours that there was no cover at all. So, which was a bit devastating considering, we pay astronomical amounts of insurance per year.
We've had state and local planning laws that have allowed people to build in areas where they simply shouldn't have. And this is a legacy piece of poor governance of both local and state governments that need to change.
Joe Wilkinson now wishes he'd made a different decision.
Expensive as the flood insurance was, it now seems like a bit of a bargain compared with the bill that we're left with now.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.